Thank you, everybody online for joining us today, and thank you all those that are in person for joining us for our another round of our Vandal Career Workshop. So today what we're going to go through is networking. And of course, we call it networking that works. And what we're trying to get at is some of the understanding of what actually goes into networking, what that process is, and what networking really is. Like most of our, we're going to start off, absolutely, we're going to go through an overview of what career services does. Then we really want to dive into what is networking, why is it important, what is the purpose behind it, and then we'll talk about some strategies, stuff that you can utilize to start building those kind of professional networks. Right off the bat, though, our mission for career services, we're part of a university. Part of our job is to help teach both students, staff, alum, and employees on how to utilize career development tools. Our end goal is we want to provide you those skills and learning objectives so that you can carry that forward. So it's not simply we're here, we're just going to do the paperwork for you. No, we're here to teach you that so that becomes a life skill that you carry forward. Okay, we go through how do I draft that resume, or how do I draft a CV? Cover letters, what goes into a cover letter? What is the value it carries? Career and major explorations. I may know this is the career I want to go to. How do I get there? Graduate school, that is part of career development. How do I get into this program? So what do I expect to get out of it? That's why we help with that. How do I search for jobs? How do I look for those internships? What are those tips and strategy? All right, I got a job. Oh, how do I do an interview? What are they looking for in the interview process? Why do they ask questions? By being able to explain and break down what an interview is for, it helps you gain confidence going in and understand how you can set yourself up for what they may be asking. I land a job. How do I negotiate salary, benefits? How are those two related? How are they different? Where can I leverage experience to help me in my negotiation process? And of course, what we're going to cover today is that networking and professional development. That kind of goes hand in hand. How we build LinkedIn, how I can use electronic tools to also help accentuate my networking capability. And then career fair preparation, how I can start pulling all these tools together to help you explore career options and potentially land you into jobs, internships that you may be interested in. A lot of our resources we have is on our career service website. The little black box to the side, the resources. This is where absolutely you can schedule interview rooms. Hey, I've got an interview coming up. I need a professional place to do it. We can help you with that. We have our direct links for Handshake, where you can schedule appointments, but also utilize Handshake as a career exploration tool, as well as using it for job searching. Some of the services that we've offered, our exploration tools, Career Explorer, Focus 2, allows you the ability to kind of self-explore, figure out what your interests are, and then we can start using those to align them into different career paths. This is where also Degree Finder comes into play and what I can do with this major. Handshake. This is our predominant tool that we utilize not only for job searching, but also for providing information. This is where you can schedule appointments with us, find out about events that are going on. So I want to know what's going on. There's a career fair coming up. Who's going to be there? I can go to Handshake and I can look in the fair section and I can now start looking. These are all the employers that are going to come to Idaho. It allows you to start pre-gaming things. At the same time, I can start utilizing it for job searches. The lovely thing about Handshake, all these jobs are geared for college students. You're not competing with everybody else in the workforce, unlike Indeed, Monster, Google Jobs, where you're competing with everybody in the workforce. Handshake is geared solely for college students. And kind of walking through some of what you see when you log in. Our Career Center, this is where we can schedule those appointments. We can look at the events. We can look at employers, jobs. It's to help you navigate that career environment. Some other tools that we have that are great. Big Interview. I've got an interview coming up, or I need to learn how to practice going through interviews, but I'm not sure if I'm comfortable yet talking to people. This is a great tool. It uses AI to ask you questions, and then it gives you real-time feedback. A lot of grad school programs are having a first-round interview that goes through AI, and it's going to ask you questions, and it's going to want a timed response. This tool will allow you to do that. We can come into these practice sets, and this is where we can start seeing what options are available. You can work on how to answer questions. We can go through various practice sets. There's even learning curriculum in here. And then they can provide you that analytic information, how you answer things, how you respond. When you do any of these mock interviews, it's going to give you real-time feedback. And this is what that's going to look like. It's going to tell you how relevant your answer was to the question, what your rate of speech was. It even gives you the counter. But the big one is the length. It's giving you that idea of, hey, you're answering a question within the prescribed time frame. So especially those grad school questions where they're saying you've got a minute and a half, you can start practicing answering questions and see, okay, that was too long, that was too short. A great tool to practice. Then after you get comfortable with big interview, we do recommend come in and schedule a mock interview. That way you're getting in front of a real person. Now you can practice in front of a person what you've learned using big interview. So it is a great tool to explore, play with, and practice some interviews. All right, some more advertisements we got coming up. What are we supporting? Well, right now, our Vandal Career Workshop. Again, offer it twice a day, 12:30, and then again at 4 o'clock. Our current schedule, next week, we'll be kicking off career fair preparation. Then we take a week break because that's the career fair. Then we will kick back off into interview skills, building those LinkedIn profiles, and then how I start negotiating for salaries, benefits. This is networking. Well, the first thing is, what is networking? Well, this is the process of making connections and building relationships. So we network all the time. We make friends. We interact with classmates. That is all that social interaction. That's really what networking is. It's building a social network, social interaction, building a group of peers. Now what we're going to do is, how do I start morphing this into that career exploration side? How do I start using this process to start setting me up for career success? This is what leads us into professional networking. This is why it is important, because now I can start learning from people that have been in the field or doing what I'm interested in doing. I can start learning those tricks, what's going to make me successful. But at the same time, I can start marketing myself. These are the skills that I'm bringing in. It's a lot easier for somebody to want to hire somebody if they know who they are. If all they see is a name on a piece of paper, they're making a value judgment. But if they've had an interaction with that person, they now know a lot more about that individual than what's just on that resume. That is that personal connection. That's what that idea behind professional networking is. It's building those connections, but it's a two-way street because they're seeing potential employees. You're learning valuable skills. What's needed? What can make you stand out from peers? Or maybe this is not the field I want to go into. So there is a lot of advantages to why we want to start building these professional networks. So what are we really looking at? Okay, well, we're trying to build and maintain these mutual beneficial professional relationships. Well, there's some key words here that we're looking for. We're trying to build and maintain. And that is a big aspect of this, is the maintaining aspect. Great, I can strike up a great conversation with somebody, but if I don't maintain it, they're going to start forgetting who I am, especially if I look at a lot of recruiters. They're going to hundreds of colleges. How do I keep my name fresh in their mind? How do I start making myself stand out from others? So what we go through is what a professional network allows individuals to do. Why we stress this so much. It allows you to start sharing information. This is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. Hey, these are my common interests. Provide support or mentorship. This is by maintaining that mentorship is very valuable for you because it's now giving you things that you can start thinking about. What's going to make somebody stand out? What is the direction an industry is going? Who are some other points of contact in similar fields? Learning about these job opportunities. Exactly. A lot of times there are what they call hidden jobs. Well, they're not really hidden. Some cases, they haven't written the job yet. By having these interactions, they catch something that's very unique about you. I'm going to create a job post. I'm going to create a position. This is where we start learning about certain job opportunities that can show up. It gives us a chance to collaborate. So a lot of this, it sounds, oh, well, this is all business related. No, I'm looking at going into research. I'm looking at going into the academic world. This collaboration becomes very important because now I can start sharing my ideas and how I'm looking at benefiting some of those different aspects. So this networking is not just limited to, oh, I got to go out in the industry of the world. No, this works across the board, fostering those relationships. They get an insight into what you're looking at, who you are, and that communication that goes back and forth, what I can bring, what they can provide. That is a relationship. And of course, you get to meet new people. That's the best part. And you get to find out interesting things. We're all individuals, we're all unique. By getting together and talking to people, we start picking up on some of those intricacies. This is where we start making those connections. That's what we're trying to establish here. Yes, we always bring this up. Has anyone found opportunities through someone you know? This is very important. This is one of the reasons we do emphasize getting involved in organizations, clubs, making friends. Because you never know, 10 years down the road, you're going to run into somebody that is going to have a job opportunity because you were collaborative together. Those upperclassmen, getting to know them that go out and work in a field or get into a grad program, they can now vouch for you. They can now recommend, hey, why don't you apply for this program? They're giving you those tips. This is what we're doing here. You're building that professional network. Might not seem like it, but that's actually what it morphs itself into. Now, before we get into networking, we need to start looking at ourselves. What is important to us? What is it that is driving us? What are we looking for? Okay, maybe I'm trying to find a job or that internship. Well, that may be one group, but how about those that are discovering your options? I've got a degree in this. What can I do? Oh, I never even thought of being able to apply for this kind of position or in this different field. I want to do meaningful work. I want to go work for a nonprofit. I want to go work in this organization. I want to get into healthcare. This is one of the things that we're learning. How we can go into that field. What makes somebody successful? What does a path kind of look like to get me where I want to go? Maybe I just want to meet people. Nothing wrong with that. Because you never know what that connection is going to lead to. Some want to make money. Okay. How do I do that? What's going to make me successful in that field that's going to make me that money? Or maybe I've got something else. Personal interest, drive. By understanding what is important to us is going to help us to how we want to strike up a conversation with individuals, how we want to start building that network, and how we can expand that network into something that right now may not seem the direction I want to go, but 20 years down the line may be exactly where I want to be. So this is life. Life is a constant learning. This is what we're in the process of doing, starting to build that process. So now we kind of look at ourselves. Who are we? What kind of person are we? Well, maybe I'm an extrovert. Oh, well, what does that mean? Okay, well, I'm energized with interacting with people, thrive in social settings, sociable, outgoing. That might not be me. That's usually not a lot of people. A lot kind of sit in the middle. Aversion. Okay, they enjoy spending time with others, but do value time alone. They need time to recharge after social interactions. Okay, there's a lot of people like that. We also have the introverts. Energized by being alone. Feel drained by large group settings. So why we bring this up is networking. Oh man, that's all social. Well, not everybody that I'm going to be interacting with is going to be an extrovert. Not all the recruiters are extroverts. Definitely a lot of the hiring managers are not. but there's a wide range of different people. So understanding who you are, we can start coming up with those strategies. How do we start building those networks? How do we start talking to people? And how do we make the most of those engagements? Oh, yep. Friends. Okay, so knowing yourself gives us information on how we want to build that professional network. More importantly, how we want to approach the process. Because what works for an extrovert might not work for an introvert. What works for an introvert might not work for an extrovert. There are skill sets that go hand in hand, and there are values that come from both that may align into certain positions. So we want to know, how do you prefer to approach people? Some people are blatant and they'll walk up to somebody, shake hands, and how you doing? Okay, that might not be me. I may be more of the wallflower, wanting to sit in the background, listen to conversations, and then inject. So, oh yeah, walk up, start that conversation. Maybe I'm not that comfortable with that yet. Maybe I'm more comfortable meeting people through work or school, i.e. it's a coworker. There can be that more one-on-one interaction process. Talk to people in a group setting. Comfort in numbers. Somebody else can start that conversation and then I can start chiming in. We start building that comfort level. Meet friends of friends. Okay, I've got somebody that's mutually connected with. We've got something in common. Now, who do you really know? This is something to take advantage of. There are lots of people that you already know that we can start taking advantage of that can start overcoming some of these social obstacles. Classmates, faculty, staff, coworkers, where you can start leveraging somewhere where you're comfortable to start making some of these interactions. This also can lead to introductions into different people. Fortunately, we do provide some worksheets, some ways to kind of think about how we can start taking advantage of inventories and how we can start pre-gaming before we go into some of these events. One of the things is we want to take a look. Okay, how can I start building my social network now? Who do I know? I can start leveraging relatives, parents, siblings, family friends, classmates, fellow alums, faculty members, supervisors, and coworkers. These are people that we have a comfort with already. We've got something kind of established. Where now can we start taking this? Where can this start leading us? Then we have some standard questions. These are actually very interesting questions because these are very good questions that if I get into an interview that I'm going to want to ask because I'm going to want to find out. What does a typical day look like in your role? You're starting to get information about what you may be getting into. What does the company culture look like? So we provide this inventory sheet, one, to help you think through how I might go about engaging with somebody that I don't know, but how I'm getting information. So like I said, networking is a two-way street. They're finding out about you. You're finding out just as much about them and their organization. Because, hey, do I really want to work for this company? It sounds great. They pay a lot. But maybe that culture doesn't align with who I am. Or maybe I'm not comfortable with that day-to-day work environment. So you're interviewing them just as much as they're talking to you. And that's kind of the idea behind this. We start building those connections so that we can start learning. And then how can I start expanding this network? Where do I practice this? Fortunately, we're at college. You can practice this all the time. We can look at the resources around us. Faculty, instructors, and staff. We interact with them all the time. We go ask questions. What did you really want on this homework assignment? What is the direction of this capstone project? Right there. You're networking. Now this is where we can branch us out. So what got you really interested in teaching this subject? What was your driving factor? What was your career journey look like? What knowledge might I want to be an expert in the field? great resources to take advantage of. Classmates. What did you do over the summer? Who did you meet? Oh, that sounds cool. That sounds interesting. I'd like to get into that. How did you get there? Hey, do you got anybody I could talk to about that? Classmates, great. Clubs and campus organizations, because now you're getting a more diverse group. Similar ideas, similar interests, but maybe from different majors, different life experiences. That's what we're getting out of networking. You're starting to learn different aspects, but at the same time, you're making those connections. Those going into academic world, conferences. That's why we go to conferences, to meet people, share ideas, and meet each other. All great resources that we can start taking advantage of while we're here. That is actually building you a professional network. We just don't think about it. Oh, because they're not business. Yeah, guess what? They're going to go do something. They're going to be researchers. They're going to be future faculty. They're going to be going into industry. Yeah. You have now started building that network. That becomes a professional network. So now we start putting all this together. Oh no, now we go to networking nights. This is where the employers are. We take those lessons that we learned by building those relationships with clubs, classmates, co-workers, faculty, family, relatives. How we start talking to people that we can now start bringing to the networking nights, where we can start looking for where is there commonality that I can strike up a connection with, that starts relaxing you, and how I can start talking to somebody about something. So what is networking night? Well, this is an opportunity for you to engage and meet people. Gives you a chance to, one, maybe I don't know all the faculty and professors on campus. Or even within my college, gives you a chance to meet them. And again, this kind of becomes a breaking point where I can start building conversations with somebody that I may be a little bit more familiar with. Gives us a chance now to start learning from industry professionals. There are some times that I can leverage my faculty to introduce me to these people. Perfect. Hey, this is such and such. They're studying this. Oh, they're doing great in my class. Suddenly that becomes that segue where now you can start taking a conversation. What interests you about this? Or how does your organization utilize this kind of degree of this knowledge? Now you've started a conversation. That's what we're trying to do. Finally, it allows you the ability to grow. Because you're talking to people in those professions, you're getting to learn more information. What are people exactly looking for? What makes somebody successful in this field? What do they wish they had done when they were in college that would have made them successful? That is always a great question you can ask, because what you're doing is you're really merging that learning and growth together. Why do we attend? Well, get advice. That's always a great. I'm finding out stuff from the industry, what they're looking for. Make connections with alum, because right there you have something in common. Oh, you graduated. Oh, you were in the same degree. How did you get there? What was your path look like? Or, hey, do you remember, was this the same way on campus? I'm changing the dynamics of the conversation, but I'm now opening up a conversation. If nothing else, it gives you a chance to practice. And this is one of the reasons we encourage people, is so that you get the chance to interact with people. Like I said, I don't care if you go there looking for a job or an internship. Go there to learn something, practice. That's exactly what you're doing. Getting that comfort level up with interacting with professionals in that field. Because I might not be comfortable with that. No harm, no foul. And especially if you really want to have fun with it, go talk to industry that you're not even interested in. The best. I can practice, I can go through a spill, I can strike up a conversation, because at the end of the day, who cares? I don't want to go work for your company anyways. But what you're doing is you're learning how to develop that conversation. So that can alleviate some of those social anxieties that, oh, I got to make this happen. I got to make this count. Go talk to somebody that you are absolutely never going to work for. You can get those jitters out, and you can start learning that it's okay to talk to people. If nothing else, go there to enjoy time. Socialize with peers, hang out with your friends. Sometimes this can be just as beneficial because maybe you like that group setting. You can gain just as much as your peers are going around talking to people and you're standing behind listening. You're gaining information at the same time. So if I'm being strategic, what do I want to learn when I go to a networking event? Well, yeah, sure. I'm looking for general information, tips. How did you get into the field? Challenges and rewards. What a company culture looks like. What is a day in the life? What kind of skills are you looking for that's going to make somebody stand out? Okay, that's what I'm going to put on my resume tonight. What roles are available to you? This can be important. What does a career progression path look like? I want to be a money manager. Okay, how do I get there? What does that path look like? I graduate, I don't start immediately as a money manager. I'm probably going to start off as a financial analyst. Well, what level of financial analyst? What does that career progression path look like? This is what we can start figuring out. How do I get to where I want to be? And of course, yeah, what do you wish you'd done while you were in school? Learn from other people's mistakes because that's going to help you prepare yourself. And these become things that we can gear as certain questions. I can have these preset in the back of my mind. I don't know where to start the conversation. Okay, I'll introduce myself and then, how did you get there? Right there, you've now changed that dynamics of the conversation. And sometimes going into networking night, I'm not necessarily wanting to go up to them and, what positions are you hiring? Because we're talking to recruiters. That's what they're expecting. It better means maybe to go up to them and, oh, I see your company's out of Boise. How do you like the Boise area? I have now completely changed the dynamic of that conversation. Instead of them being geared to spit out the response, these are the positions we have, I'm now starting to personalize with them. That starts to change the mindset of a conversation. I'm from this area. Oh yeah, I remember, I've seen your building and your projects that you guys have been working on. What do you guys think about this project? You're now changing dynamics, but you're also at the same time embedding some familiarity. You're personalizing. The quicker we personalize, oh, the more open people are to start having conversations. Same way when as we make friends, you meet those classmates, brand new classmate, you start finding out about them. Okay, we have similarities. That's really what you're starting to do in networking, is how do I build those similarities? How do I start this conversation? Okay, great. You're telling me all kinds of great stuff. I don't know how to start a conversation. Well, just say hi. Walk up to somebody, hi, shake their hand. Tell me about your company. I do like the how did you get into this field? Because now what you're learning is different aspects. You may have somebody that's representing a company that's maybe have an absolutely different major, or they have a completely different life journey. What got them there? Where can I ambush people? Sure, I can ambush them when they're next to getting something to eat. I can make a comment about the food. Oh man, it's like I got a nice spread set out here. What do you think? Hey, have you tried this? You've now just changed the dynamics of that conversation. It's no longer geared specifically for, I want a job. It's geared towards who you are. This is where that networking aspect comes into play. Because now I've started a conversation that I can develop into something more specific. It's you having that game plan, why I'm engaging with them, what I want to learn. And even just going in with, what do I want to learn? Can change the focus of how we actually would approach someone. Now, again, we also have some preparation documents so that, hey, I really like to have stuff thought out beforehand. Exactly. We have networking night preparation sheet that allows you to kind of brainstorm, come up with your own elevator pitch. Hello, my name is such and such. My name is Clayton Roberts. I am a chemistry major, getting ready to graduate, very interested. Okay, maybe that's the spill I'm going into. Or maybe it's, hello, my name is Clayton Roberts. I'm very much interested in some of the aspects that your company is doing in this area. How did you do this? I've now changed it, but I'm still selling it elevator pitch. I'm telling who I am, and I'm explaining where my level of interest is within your organization. What kind of questions might I want to ask? What do I want to know about that organization? So this way we can give you some tools that, okay, especially for those that really like to think things out and have a game plan. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with having a game plan. Not everybody can think very quickly on their feet, and I don't expect you to. But these are tools that you can start looking at and, okay, I can start making some preparations. And then we want you to get out there and practice it. Because the only way you're going to get better is by practicing. So we do have some tips for networking night. One of the most important, introduce yourself. Remember, one of the tips for networking is building, maintaining relationships. Well, if I never introduce myself, they have no idea who I am. We do recommend sometimes it is beneficial to step away from groups of friends so that you can get those one-on-one interactions. You might not be ready yet. That's fine. You can stay with the friends in the group because somebody in there may be asking all the questions that you want to hear. Nothing wrong. You're still learning information. Yes, we do recommend, yes, don't go overboard on the appetizers and desserts because, you know, they're going to put a good spill on because we're kissing up to employers. We want them to keep coming back. So we're going to put a good spill up. So absolutely. If you want to get a good meal on Friday the 10th, hit all the networking nights because we all got different food spreads. Again, go easy on the libations and then write people's names down. Get that information because now you're maintaining. This allows you to follow up emails. Hey, I had a good conversation with you last night. I'm just following up on something that you said that I'm really kind of interested in. Right there, you have maintained. You've refreshed your name in their minds, and you started to build that professional network. So some great ways that you can start building those connections without necessarily, I got to go there. This is my 30-second elevator speech. This is who I am, my degree, what I'm doing. Where I can turn the tide and come in with just a conversation where I'm trying to extract information. I want to make a determination. Hey, is this the company I want to work for? Is this the field I want to go into? Who do you partner with? Because maybe I'm more interested in the nonprofits that organization work with than that organization. So it's having that game plan when we go in. But at the same time, it's how do I build friendships that can transform into professional relationships? All right, now we got to end a conversation. This can get challenging for some. We'll get into talking and how do I break from that? Well, right there, give them the appreciation. Hey, I really appreciate your advice, for sharing. I definitely look into that. I'll make contact with you. Let me think on that for a little bit. I'm going to send you can I send you a follow-up email? Or can I meet with you again tomorrow at the career fair to further discuss? Things like that help to reestablish that, maintaining and building that relationship. Okay, maybe this conversation is not going the way I want it, and now maybe they're taking control of the conversation. Oh, I know there's a lot of students to talk with, so I want to respect your time. Allows you to graciously exit the conversation. Okay, follow-ups. Do you have a business card or any other way I can follow up with you? Where this is helpful is at maintaining LinkedIn profile, business cards, just jotting somebody's email down, sharing that information back and forth. Great ways to start the conversation, end the conversation, but starting to maintain that process. Sharing LinkedIn. Hey, yeah, there's my profile on LinkedIn. Because now I don't have to bring that resume to a networking night. They can look me up. And guess what? When they look me up, I can see it. Because you're gonna get that little notification, such and such looked at your profile. But now they've made that connection. You can now link back with them and you can continue to maintain that kind of professional network. Now we're doing it just electronically. So there are those advantages back and forth on what we can do. So finally, this is us. This is where you can find us. We're up on the 3rd floor of the iSub. We do drop-in appointments, 11 to 1, Monday through Friday.